I get it. It must be really frustrating, bewildering for those who aren't followers of Jesus to wonder what the big deal is. This guy lived 2,000 years ago, and I understand he formed your religion, and but really, 2,000 years ago, what's he got to do with my life today? I'm busy. Got to feed my family, got to get my college degree, got to have fun. What does Jesus have to do with any of that? Well, that's a really wonderful question. It really is a very important question. And so I'm putting together these 12 videos to answer the question, what in the world does Jesus have to do with my life today? And I just want to tell you my heart before I go any further. My heart here is not to try to win a debate or to try to get people onto my side. Uh, it's a heart of love. I just want to present information in love for you to think about if you're not a believer in Jesus, or if you are a believer in Jesus, because there will be times where your faith is tested. All right, so let's get back to the question. What in the world does Jesus have to do with my life today? Answer number one, his teachings. His teachings are powerful. His teachings are beautiful. His teachings are life transforming. In those places and in those times and areas where his teachings have been followed, we have tremendous peace and blessing and prosperity. They're good teachings. They're challenging teachings, but they're good teachings, and they fit well with human life, with the way we were created to live. Just fits together like hand and glove. And so let me give you a couple examples. Both of these are from Matthew chapter 5. The first example I give is this. Jesus taught us to love even our enemies, to love those who love us and to love those who hate us, and to bless and pray for those who curse us. Now, this is tough. We don't normally think this way. Society doesn't exist this way. I usually judge whether to love or to hate somebody based on what they do to me. If I go into a room and there's somebody in that room that just always blesses me, they always have a funny joke and a $10 bill, I'm going to love that person really easily. Meanwhile, there's this awkward person, and he steals stuff. I have to watch my belongings whenever I'm around him. It's easy for me to hate that person. Why? Because he's a detriment to my well-being. And what Jesus is saying is stop judging people based on how they benefit or detract from your well-being. Just love people. Now, this doesn't mean that the criminal shouldn't be punished. Obviously, we have to do that as a society. But what's in your heart? Can we even administer the punishment in a manner of love? Hey, this is to correct you, and this is to love others who might need to be protected from you. So we've got to have this heart of love that Jesus taught us. We even have families now that don't get along with one another. The siblings don't get along, the parents don't get along. This would be a thing of the past if we take on this heart of, I love everybody. Okay? Yes, you did some things in the past I didn't like, or yes, I just don't quite understand your sense of humor, or whatever it might be. But you are a human being, and so I'm going to love you. Man, transformational, powerful. Also in that chapter, Jesus gives a teaching on this. He says, you've heard it said not to commit adultery. But I say to you not to even lust after a woman in your heart. That if you lust after a woman, you've already committed adultery in your heart. Now, what is this? This is a major challenge for a lot of people. Even a lot of married people, they just think it's natural and normal to, every time a pretty person walks by, to lust after them. To allow the thoughts and the imagination to go to all kinds of places, but as long as I don't touch, it's okay. And Jesus is setting the bar higher and saying, no, that's not okay. Yes, it's important what you do with your actions. And yes, it's good to be faithful physically to your spouse, but also it's important to be faithful in your heart. You see, this is elevating who we are as humans and saying every part of us is important. That every part of us should be pure and should be holy, should be self-controlled. Now, what is it if we say it's okay to think and to imagine certain things that I shouldn't do? What we're really saying is the imagination isn't important, just the action. And Jesus is saying, no, both are important. And I can tell you, as a pastoral figure, as a messianic rabbi, that what goes on in the mind destroys marriages, destroys relationships, destroys people. What goes on in the mind and in the heart is a gateway for beautiful things or really ugly, terrible things. And if the heart is right, the mind is right, the actions almost for sure will be right. Transformational. So let me go back to the question. The question was, what in the world does Jesus have to do with my life today? Answer number one, the power of his teachings. Yes, many of his teachings are challenging. There's grace, there's forgiveness if we fall, but we shouldn't lose his teachings. We shouldn't lose living in obedience to those teachings. God bless you. Hope to see you for video number 2, where I'll give you another answer to the question, what in the world does Jesus have to do with my life today?